The last topic that we have is just a really funny headline. Rod Carew, Hall of Famer, top 10 MVP vote getter in like 20 seasons, probably 12 if I had to guess. I don't know. I know he won it once. He was Rookie of the Year. Batting title maybe 5 times. Called one of the best hitters to ever play. Interacts with me on Twitter a good amount, which I like.
Yeah.
He
81 career WAR. Real.
And some other Hall of Famers had their Cooperstown brunch with Manfred, where they talk about the state of the game. And apparently, they let Manfred have it. And Carew led the attack. And Manfred was shook. He didn't like it. And then Rod Carew shared it with the public. And Manfred has a line what stays in Cooperstown brunch, said Cooperstown brunch. He's like, what?
Yeah, man.
What?
Yep.
So the same complaints, Rosenthal wrote the article about it. And it was the same complaints we have, but because they're Hall of Famers and older men, they are just lumping into old men screams at clouds. But Manfred, I don't know if that's what you're doing. If you're just yeah, they're just old and they're out of touch. No, they're complaining about the same thing a lot of people are complaining about. To Manfred's credit, the shifts, they are implementing that. They're testing it out. They want to try it. They want to change it. I do think they hoped the game would correct itself, and it didn't for 20 years. It went on a bit too long. And then pace of play, the 3-batter minimum rule, the runner on second base, a little bit of you are ruining our great game vibe. And I think I agree with the main 4 points. The 3-batter minimum rule has not done what you thought it would do. It's not more intriguing. There's a better way to do what you were trying to do, I think, if you just limit reliever usage or tighten up rosters. Brandon McCarthy has a bunch of different ways and ideas for that. But what we're seeing is more position players pitch because of stuff like that. And then the ghost runner, I think there's a better way to do that too. So, although I have become numb to the ghost runner, which is...
I hate the ghost runner.
I hate it because all of a sudden you're playing a different game.
A lot of the time when Manfred talks about that specific new rule, he says it works.
He says people like it.
I don't think people like it. I think it might work, but that doesn't mean it's best for the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. We've done all the stats. Majority, it was 80% of extra inning games ended before the 11th anyway. So you're not fixing that much.
Yes. Yeah, and like you said, I think that Manfred, and I don't want to give just Manfred credit for, deciding to, do stuff with shifts or the pitch clock. He has a collection of people, former players that are now with MLB, figuring these things out. Okay. It's not just Manfred in his lab coming up with different ideas. That's just not the case. What we have to keep remembering, I think Rod has to remember this too, I'm sure he knows, is that Manfred is just, he's the punching bag for the owners and for that side of baseball. He's admitted that. He's not, I said this on Baseball Today with T Rose. We have this notion that the commissioner of baseball is guarding the game and making sure it's going in the right direction at all times. That's just not the case, dude. That's not his number one job.
But I do think there have been commissioners that have, and I don't know.
Well,
I don't know the level.
Stated explicitly what he needs to do, and that's shield the owners from
yes,
essentially the press.
He is, but I think there's other sports where owners have kind of taken charge and went to the owners and said, these are my ideas. This is what I want to do. Do I have your approval? And then went and did them. And
I don't think he's that kind of commissioner, though.
Or commissioner. Yeah, I agree. But I'm just saying, so that's a bucket in this is not good. We want someone who will do some stuff. Bud Selig, for all his faults, he brought interleague play. And we'll look back on some stuff like, their balanced schedule next year. That's better. You get credit for things that happen under your reign, to use like the historic word for it. And there are some things, but it is hilarious that he thinks he's just going to like the Cooperstown talk to Hall of Famers and they're just like ready for him.
I was going to say, I mean, Trev, I'm going to fluff you a little bit. I do this about once a month. We're through the dog days. Rod Carew, pretty cool baseball reference page, 328 batting average for the career, 92 home runs, Trev. Eat that, Rod Carew. That's pretty cool, big dog. So love that for you. And yeah, I was kind of shocked that you guys were turning it on Uncle Rob here, because could you imagine, you think you're going to a friendly brunch and the door closes behind you and Johnny Bench and Jeff Bagwell lock the door and they say, why don't you sit down, Bob? Because we got some stuff to talk about. I mean, just blindsided. No, man,
Hey, look, for real, you're making a good point, Jake. There's that's his nightmare situation. I don't think he's ever liked having that brunch. He's got to go sit down with a bunch of dudes who got a lot of time on their hands to think about stuff. They've seen a lot change in the game. Things that they used to value deeply are not valued anymore. A lot of the stats that they were trying to, get to aren't valued anymore. They're saying all the things that you thought were right or wrong. So I understand that these guys can be angry about some things going on with the game, but Rob Manfred has to know that is just not. He probably needs to stop having that brunch. I think
he's done. He's probably going to send someone else now.
Yeah, for his sake.
Yeah, there's certain things that are there's been this whole campaign against 4 RBIs now, and it's like, guys, come on, this isn't really a head-to-head battle. RBIs are, I don't want to do it, but. And you had Pujols and Alonso and all those talk about, and it's obviously RBIs are good as a team stat, but as an individual stat, there's a lot of shit that goes on for that. You want to drive runners in, but I just think it's funny that they got attacked. And then I do agree with half of it. Me and Rod Carew on the same team. He is like vice president of the Keep Paper Out of Baseball campaign that I started. He solidified that. He responded and said, I agree. Keep paper out of baseball. So we're kind of running mates.
Whoa.
Well, we talk about baseball all the time. We talk about the state of the game. We care about the state of the game. We're very invested in what the state of the game is and what will it be and what it will be. So all of these ideas, we've been talking about them.
It's great. I think we're going to be in it. We got young studs. We got stadiums that are selling out. We got people tuning in. We had high-rated games this year, and there's no pitcher hitting in the NL anymore. Right. That's better. We're gonna have a balanced schedule next year. We have a better maybe a better playoff system. I'm not positive. We'll see. I'm interested to find out about the new playoff system, and they're gonna try and change the shifts next year, which the shifts have, to what we know, have been Gabe, who works for us, his whole life. That's the baseball he knows.
Yeah.
They let it go so long that we have young kids now that are doing the old man argument of don't change the game. I know, because they know shifts. They know when Giambi and Teixeira came over, and then their batting average died and their home run soared because they couldn't beat the shift, and McCann and Teixeira. And I'm ready to go back to ball and play and running. So I think. I get me to next year in a way if we implement this stuff and the pitch clock, when those things are instituted and people don't hate them vehemently because they're new, maybe 5 years from now, I think that version of the game, I think we're on path. So credit to whoever's making the decision. I think they are trying the right things and hoping to implement the right things. They got it wrong for the last 2011 to 2017. They were just wrong with a lot of the stuff they were trying to do.
Our good friend Raul Ibanez is helping out on the MLB side. He's,
Raul was awesome. One of the nicest guys we met.
VP of what on-field gameplay or whatever it is. And I really like Raul. I think that's a really good role for him to have. And I trust him I trust him in that role. Because you know why I trust him? Because I know he talks to dudes. And he's getting the pulse and feeling it out. It wouldn't surprise me if he's listened to some of our stuff. He's very in tune like that. So basically, we're running the big leagues.
If you get a second today, baseballhall.org, and you can click around and look at all the guys in the Hall of Fame, which is just cool anyways. Something that's really funny, and I'd love to know the decision-making here. All the old guys are pictures in black and white, and that makes sense because their pictures were in black and white. A lot of the modern guys, Jim Palmer's picture is in color, David Ortiz, Tony Oliva. Some of the new guys are also black and white. Mike Piazza, Trevor Hoffman, their pictures are in black and white, which just seems like, I don't know.
Like they're dead?
Who made that choice?
Where? What website are you talking about?
Baseballhall.org. And if you just click on the Hall of Famers, it just has 15 pages of Hall of Famers. And yeah, the black and white pictures seem kind of random for the new age guys.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a young Mike Piazza and a young Jake Storiale just kicking around?
Dyed tips.
Maybe you went to Italy together, back to the motherland.
I'd love to.